Hello and welcome to another edition of the Jungle Jumps podcast. You're with me, Paddy, and Tony. How you doing, my man?
All good, Paddy, all good. Glad to get 3 points on the table, so happy weekend so far.
Absolutely, mate. So it's the 28th of November. We've just seen a victory over Aberdeen at Celtic Park. A very hard-fought victory, shall we say. But just before we talk about the game, I just want to touch upon the tribute that we had for Bertie Auld. Very poignant today, and it was great to see Callum McGregor and obviously ex-leader of the club, Scott Brown, turning out for Aberdeen today. Two of them came out onto the centre circle with a great big banner for Bertie, number 10, that's entertainment. Then the players came out, all stood, did a good minute's clap. So it was very, very nice, and it was great with the Celtic song playing in the background as well. You had a wee kind of video montage just before it, and it was Bertie singing with the Titans. And I'm not, I won't lie, mate. I was sitting in here watching it myself. I was doing a wee bit of work in my man cave, and thank God I was myself, because I had a wee tear in my eye. So it was nice. It was very, as I say, it was quite touching, and it was a nice wee send off, especially with Scott Brown coming out as well.
It definitely was, and you wouldn't expect anything less from Scott Brown to walk out there side by side with our new captain Callum McGregor, and both of them putting down a wreath in support and kind of honour of the great man Bertie. You wouldn't think anything different, and you wouldn't expect anything different. So it was really good to see both captains do that. Really good to see all the players getting involved in it, all the fans getting involved as well. So it was superb, a nice final touch.
Aye, it was great for the younger supporters to see that as well. And again, nice wee return for Scott Brown back at Celtic Park.
Back, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, but anyway, we'll move on to that. As you said, it was a pretty hard-fought game. It was a hard watch, wasn't it, mate? Very hard watch.
It was. At times, I think you said it best during the game in the group chat. It was, what did you say, the kind of European hangover kind of performance. It really did feel like that at times. I don't think we were troubled in any way, shape or form. I think with the most you saw of Joe Hart was actually him taking a knock. Other than that, I don't think he had anything else really to do from the game. So it was never troubled in the sense of I felt we were shaky at the back and about to lose the game. It was just a case of when we're going to get the win, and is it going to be one of these ones we just run out of time before we actually got that goal. But 2-1 win for the boys, so we got that one in the end, got the 3 points on the table, keep up that pressure.
Well, in terms of the European hangover, that's kind of the first time that I've seen that for this Celtic team this season. I thought even when we came back for a kind of grueling match against Betis, you know, we still looked lively and energetic the next game. But I thought the day was definitely, it reminded me of the kind of games where you go away and play in Europe, and then you come back and it's kind of sluggish. We did start off okay, but I don't think we got into too much of a rhythm. Maybe that was down to Aberdeen kind of playing the way that they were, because they were clearly coming out with a game plan of trying to get the boot in and kind of toil us. But
their entire game plan was to try and slow our game down, just to disrupt us a wee bit. They weren't as horrible about it as some other teams have been, i.e. Livingston and Rangers are usually quite good for that. But you could tell the game plan wasn't especially to try and take the game to us. It was more just to stop us playing and hope that they could nick something. For me, as you say, kind of sluggish kind of game overall. We kind of started well both halves. We got a goal kind of in the first half of both halves, but then it kind of just all seemed to kind of just pan out the way you hate watching a game of football at times, but glad of a victory. But for me, that kind of comes down to the lineup, and especially that midfield. It was such a slow midfield when you have Turnbull and McCarthy both starting. And touching on that, I'll just run through that lineup just very quickly. So in goal, we had Joe Hart. Right back, we had Tony Ralston, Carter Vickers, Stephen Welsh, and Juranovic at left back. Then we had the midfield trio of James McCarthy, David Turnbull, and Callum McGregor. By the way, McGregor scored an absolute peach of a goal off his arse. And Leo Abada, Kyogo, and Jota up front. So, yeah, the kind of backline and front line exactly as you expected us to go into a game like this, and you would expect, especially that front line, to show some tempo, some dig, and some kind of drive. But when they've got nothing in the midfield to support it, there's no Tam Rogic helping to support Kyogo. It just felt really slow and flat. I've yet to see anything from Turnbull and McCarthy this season, at least, that suggests that they're capable of actually lifting our game.
Well, as you said, there was no big surprises with the lineup. Sorry, obviously with Beaton being out injured, McCarthy coming to the kind of sitting midfield role. For me, I thought, particularly in the first half, I thought McCarthy, I don't want to say he was an empty jersey, but I don't think he offered too much. It just looked to me as if he was just a kind of extra man in the midfield. He wasn't really dictating the game. He wasn't getting that involved. He just looked really, really sluggish. And I know he's not played a lot of games and he's maybe struggling for fitness, but come on, this is a guy that we brought in expecting to be a senior head, a leader, a kind of big time player for the team, and he's just not done it so far.
When was it we actually signed him? Was it in August, or was it at the end of the window? Was it a bit earlier than that?
I think it was later.
It was kind of late. Or was it late August? Either way, at minimum, he's been here 3 months. Same with Giamakis, and I know Giamakis had an injury throughout the summer, seemingly, and he took that knock in the warm up. He kind of got a setback, so you can forgive Giamakis a little bit more here. But it's 3 months you've been at this club. If you're not up to fitness and match sharpness by this point, you're never going to be. Unless there's some real underlying issue, then I'm really struggling to see what McCarthy's going to offer this team, which is a shame because for the last 10 years, I think everybody and anybody would have taken McCarthy in a heartbeat. But he's really not offering anything to this midfield. We've lacked we've got a real leader in Callum McGregor, but Callum McGregor can't play 3 roles. We would notice that previous seasons when he's had to cover Scott Brown in some capacity because Brown sat so deep doing his defensive duties, which has been quite good in the last few years. Tailed off obviously last year, but that's a conversation we've all covered plenty of times. But generally speaking, he's unable to play 3 roles, and without Tam Rogic there to support the strikers, and without a Scott Brown to support the defenders, he's having to do it all himself, and he just can't. And McCarthy's not offering enough defensively, and David Turnbull's not offering enough attacking-wise to actually be of any real fucking use to this midfield. And for me, as you said, the kind of an empty jersey, he really didn't do anything wrong. He never did anything right. Neither did David Turnbull, but we're about to see that obviously he did. It's just, you really do notice, times like this, you really do notice how lacking in depth we are in that midfield. We really are lacking.
And you look at the midfield options that was there. So it was McCarthy, it was Turnbull, and it was McGregor. But you look at the players that was further forward, and this is the guys that have been kind of the mainstays, the forward line. So it was Jota on the left, Abada on the right, and Kyogo through the centre. But what I noticed early on was Jota obviously had his pace and his trickery, as per usual, as what he's done kind of every game since he's come in. The guy's a phenomenal player, and I hope to God that the board don't let this one go by us, because that's a player who has been instrumental to this team. You know, he's taken the game by the scruff of the neck almost every game. He's getting wide, he's taking on players, he's bringing the game inside, he's bringing other guys into the game. But you look at the midfield today. You had Kyogo playing through the centre as the kind of the main forward. There was a great big gap between Kyogo up front and the midfield. So you would expect maybe your number 10 or somebody that's playing in that number 10 role to be moving forward, busting a gut, getting up there to support Kyogo, and it just wasn't happening again. And that is down to, it's Turnbull. Turnbull again is the man who's no stepping up to the game for me. Sorry, there you go.
I was going to say, you look at before Tam Rogic takes his injury, Tam Rogic's playing that number 10 role. McGregor and Turnbull are the central midfield kind of duo as such. With Rogic out, we've replaced him primarily with Near Beaton. Now, nobody's going to pretend that Near Beaton's playing the number 10, so we can all safely assume that the person who's meant to be playing that role is David Turnbull, and he's just not. And now, is he actually physically playing the number 10 role, just incapable of it, or is Ange realizing he's not able to do that, but he's still playing him in the central midfield role, and we're just really just lacking that option going forward in support for Kyogo. It really is telling.
It's so much you're missing the heartbeat of the team with Rogic being out, and thank God Postecoglou came out at the end and done his press conference, and Rogic is one of the names that he mentioned who's going to be back soon. He actually said that he'll be fit for the Hearts game on Thursday, which is a godsend, because when you've got Kyogo who's basically performing a role himself in that area, and nobody there backing him up apart from Jota and say Abada or Forrest on the right, who are coming for the outside areas and coming in or putting balls in. There's nothing coming from behind. You know, there's nobody driving through and making the Pearson runs to support him like a player that you would like a kind of movement that you would have seen for like a Stan Petrov type. You just don't get that.
I've said this before in the podcast. I watched one of the games from what's his old team, Vissel Kobe for Japan. I watched their last game, I think it was, before he signed and came over. And I'm going to safely presume this is probably what happened quite a lot with him. He was playing in a strike partnership, two up front, somebody to play off of, and he clearly looks like that kind of player to play off of. He's not a target man. He's not a lone striker. He's got a great amount of work rate, but he's not a lone striker. We had Kenny Miller at this club as well, and we saw how good he was for Scotland, and unfortunately how good he was for Rangers in 2 of his 3 stints there. But he very much reminds me of a much more athletic and talented version of that. And we all said at the time with guys like Kenny Miller, great work ethic, run around all day long and chase balls down. They need a strike partner. They need somebody to run off of and feed off of, because they can't do that. They're not big enough to be able to do that. I would love to see him and Giamakis playing up top together. I think that's what we should be doing, actually, if we're not able to play Tam Rogic, who would support in that sense, as a guy who's going to kind of run after the shoulder and kind of get in behind. But here we are. We've still got the win today, 2-1. And I suppose we better talk about the goals at least.
Aye, so the first goal that came in the 20th minute, and that was...
It's the Jota goal, was it? Which
I think that might be the wrong video I've just got there. So. No, sorry guys, I have completely made a boo-boo of this.
One. Technical errors, we'll allow it.
Aye, so first goal was Jota.
You played the same goal twice.
I think I have made an absolute boo-boo.
We'll talk about that one.
That's what happens when you leave me in charge of the technical aspects. But listen, just talk a bit about the first goal. You thought it was an absolute cracker.
Was it David Turnbull just kind of off centre to the left side? Naturally, obviously, we're talking about Jota getting on the goal. And it's a lovely actual pass over the top into the feet of Cal McGregor, who kind of comes inwards, cuts in, who then lays it off for Jota, and a lovely strike from Jota to get the goal. I actually got confused when I watched it. At first, it all happened that quickly. I thought Jota actually played 1-2 with Cal McGregor to then receive the ball back, but it's not that way. It's just a really good goal. And as I was saying earlier about Turnbull, he does actually offer something, and that vision and that range of passing is fantastic. We just need him to actually get forward and support more. But it was a great ball over the top. We've seen it a few times, I think, from David Turnbull this season. I think he played Kyogo in for a goal as well, and Jota another time. It was a great goal, absolutely brilliant goal. It was a goal worthy of taking the lead and a goal worthy of winning a game if it was going to be a 1-0 game. Unfortunately, we can see that penalty of some kind. I mean,
so that was in the 33rd minute. Yeah. So the ball comes in kind of to Celtic's right hand side of the defence. The the ball ends up in front of Abada. The Aberdeen defender, David Bates, he tries to run onto the ball, and Abada puts in a kind of half-hearted kind of swipe at it, a wee kick.
He seems to swipe at the ball miles away from the player. His foot then lands on the deck. He's now standing upright 2 feet on the ground, and Bates decides to go, oh, look, a foot, and theatrically flops to the ground for me. Is a contact? Probably. I've not seen a clear enough replay to show.
No contact.
No.
Yeah,
so there you are. If you had VAR in this league at this point, Bates would be getting booked for simulation then, if that's the case. It's a very soft penalty. You can see what's happened. Abada's been naive to put the leg in like that inside the box, but he's put the foot down. 2 feet are now on the ground. He's now standing upright, 2 feet on the ground, and Bates goes flying over it theatrically. He's clearly seen the opportunity and went with it. Referees should have been better to see that. I can't say the linesman would have seen it. There's a lot of bodies, but the referees should have been better.
Well, you used the exact word that I was going to use when I was talking about Abada there. I was going to call him pretty naive to be even kind of making that kind of movement in the box, because, listen, we all know what the referees are like in Scotland. They're either completely hopeless or up to other things, but
I'll allow a bit of naivety every so often. I'll allow it.
But yeah, no, in a big game like that at Celtic Park against Aberdeen,
I'm saying I'm allowing it because we got the 3 points at the end of the game. I'd have a different tone about that if I didn't have the 3 points.
But as I say, it was definitely naive of Abada to even try and kind of do that. But at the same time, David Bates is a complete and utter disgrace for getting down like that, because he literally runs by Abada, and there is a split second or two before he even starts to fall to the deck. He just does an absolute swan dive, and it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for a fan point of view to see a fellow professional act like that.
Aye.
But
then the game peters out. Obviously, they get the goal from the penalty. You didn't expect much else of the difference. I can't even blame Hart for anything there. I mean, other than Hart taking the knock, which, by the way, that Ramirez going right through Hart seemed a bit sus from the word go, and for me, that kind of set the tone. You saw it a few times where they were happy to leave the foot in a few times, break up the play, just kind of slow things down a little bit. I think that's what their game plan was all along. Just kind of interrupt us. Shocking decision the way he goes through. But other than that, for Hart, generally in the rest of the game, nothing to report from Hart. He had I don't remember a single save.
Oh, no, he had a cracking save. Maybe about 5-10 minutes after he took that injury. The Aberdeen forward.
Oh, aye. Goes around the right side of the post.
Aye. The Aberdeen forward kind of had a curving effort with his left foot for Joe Hart's left angle, and he managed to get down and make a right good save low down. But as you said earlier on, he took a right bad knock, and I tell you what, my heart was in my mouth whenever I heard the commentator saying, "Right, Scott Bain's getting ready to come on," and I was like, "Oh no, here we go." No disrespect to Scott Brown, but he's no Joe Hart. He's no Joe Hart, and you can see everything in Joe.
You saw Hart get up, and you thought, "Oh, that's it. He's up on his feet." And I think the whole crowd gave him a little cheer and applause. Then he went straight back down. That's for me when I went, "Oh fuck, oh crap." You thought, "Oh, what a day this is going to be if we have to put Bain in." But we didn't. He's fine. We get on with it.
Aye, so that was kind of the flashpoints of the first half. Second half started a bit livelier. We were chatting at the door, and then on the 60th minute, we get a corner, and Jota takes a corner, quick pass to Abada back to Jota. The ball comes across the face to Juranovic, looks up, Juranovic passes to McCarthy. McCarthy hits a wee bit of a ghost shot, a feint shot, and he manages to turn round in a split a second, slides an absolutely beautiful ball through to Abada, who was in front of the goalkeeper. He tries to lift it over the goalie. Goalkeeper saves it. At that point, Abada stopped. He's got his hands in his head. The ball falls to Johnny Hayes, and Johnny Hayes tries to clear it, and it bounces right off Callum McGregor's arse and into the goal, as you'll see here.
peach of a goal, as they say.
Excuse
I was actually a bit annoyed just here where, see just there where Barrett takes the shot to try and lift it over him. Joe Lewis had a great game. He was plucking balls out of the air every fucking 5 minutes. But see there when Abada puts the hands in the head sort of thing, and at that point I'm almost about to scream at him, stop doing that, follow the ball, keep playing to the whistle sort of thing. But we get lucky because I missed it at first because I'm about to scream at him. But you see it here where he tries to lift it. Fair enough, he's close to the keeper. But I think we all do the same thing. Like, what the fuck just happened? Right off his ass.
It was a peach of a goal. And thanks very much to Johnny Hayes for the assist on his former club. So we've got Darren in the comments saying that McCarthy played brilliant. Sorry, it comes up saying Facebook users here. I've got to jump into my phone for some reason and look at the Facebook page to see the names. And Darren, I was the same, mate. Absolutely shat my pants when I saw Bain getting stripped. But that was clearly because Joe Hart's been such a commanding figure this season. He's been so integral to our backline, and even today when he took the injury, he was back up and he made a great save, which was again integral to his winning the game, because you've got to keep them out at the back, you've got to put them in up front.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's apart from the penalty. Obviously, you commented on the save that Hart had to make there, but apart from the penalty, I don't overly remember much from Joe Hart in the sense of being troubled overly. I think I said this one of the previous games as well. I was never worried about losing this game. I was just concerned about when are we going to get the winning goal. The penalty going in was a heartbreaker because you thought, oh Christ, it's going to be a long slog at this point. And it kind of was, but we started that second half reasonably well. 15 minutes in, you get the second goal, and then it just needs to see the game out at that point. I don't want to keep kind of saying the same crap on here, but there really wasn't much else to talk about in the game, I feel. It just kind of petered out in a positive sense.
Well, positive obviously is that we managed to get the result. We won 2-1. We are up to second in the league still. We've played 14, 29 points. We're 4 behind top spot. So we're still plodding away, still plugging away, trying to get up there. And we'll continue to do that. We play Hearts at Celtic Park on Thursday. That's a 1:15 kick-off. So not really else much to say, mate. It was a bit of a drab game today, but
that's the unfortunate way, But as you say, that we're still 4 points behind. We keep the pressure on them. We've got, I think Hearts is the next. Well, I know Hearts is the next game. You just told me that, but if you think that's the toughest game we've probably got in the run through December. Obviously, thick and fast games. There's some hiccups that could possibly happen with United and Motherwell in there as well. But I think for me, Hearts is probably the toughest one for us coming up. Get through that, keep the pressure on them, get to the January the 2nd. I reckon they'll drop points before we do, and I reckon we can get to January the 2nd and go top of the table at that point.
Well, I think we just need to kind of concentrate our own game, just keep plugging away, keep getting the results on the table, do our own thing, and just keep going and going and going. It's another good victory today, good 3 points. So let's look forward towards Thursday. My man, thanks very much for joining us tonight. Thanks everybody. You're welcome. Thanks everybody for watching. As per usual, give us a wee like and subscribe on YouTube if you can. If you want to join us on Facebook, we are the Jungle Gyms Podcast Group. We are also on Twitter at Jungle Gyms Pod. I'm Paddy and Tony. Thank you very, very much for joining. Cheers.
Our pleasure, guys. Thank you very much. Hail, hail.